Alrighty. Yeah, I hope you're good at that. Whatever. So I am weight restored. And I've managed to stay that way since Homewood. Although, when I got home, let me think. I was about 6 pounds over goal, which totally fine. It's still well within normal. Um, but I freaked out because, I gotta talk numbers again, otherwise I can't explain it. I'm sorry. My goal was 116, and even though I knew my set point was probably more like 120, um, to be almost, it was either, I think it was almost 122. I think it was 121 point something, and I just lost my shit. Like, in a more minor kind of way, because I'd learned how to handle a lot of emotions at Homewood. Like, I experienced everything horrible and awful to like its fullest capacity, and still managed to not flip out or self-injure or get all suicidal and stuff. It's not to say I didn't have urges. Less for suicidal, way less, but self-harm urges became worse at the end, which I guess is kind of normal because ED was gone. I was no longer underweight. I was BMI 20 and whatever. So, I came home really suddenly. I was supposed to stay there till I think it was mid-January, and I was there for 9 weeks. Everybody's supposed to stay for 12. That's the now normal time for everyone to stay, regardless of whether they're on weight gain or normalized eating, because they blatantly told us it wasn't actually weight maintenance, for the reason that half the board was freaking out because, oh my god, it's weight maintenance, but oh my god, I'm convinced I'm gaining weight. But it's like, no, it's actually normalized eating, not weight maintenance. Anyway, yeah, I don't want to really go into the freakouts of the few weeks before I left, because there were a lot of them, and at that point I was totally over it. I really, I didn't want to hear about that shit anymore. I wanted people to stop talking about their fucking eating disorders 24/7 at the meal tables, in the lounge, every fucking where I went. Like, that shouldn't be such a horrible thing to ask. And I mean, we weren't even supposed to talk about food at all, positive or negative. We certainly weren't supposed to talk about weight, calories, any kind of numbers, exercise, any triggering conversation about ED, and everybody did it anyway. At least during the last couple of weeks of my stay, which were kind of hellish. But anyway, it was because of all of my emotional issues just coming back and punching me in the body everywhere all the time. It's all I can describe it as, because there were so many emotions that kind of go all through my torso, but at the same time I was having all sorts of all the mental crap was going on, and then panic attacks and not being able to go to groups, and just every awful emotion amplified by like 10. And I couldn't deal with it in a group setting. It was very, very personal, very private. I couldn't tell anybody at Homewood, because if I told one person, the whole team would know, and that was not acceptable to me. Anyway, since I couldn't do that, they basically were kind of like, well, you're doing all right with the food aspect. It seems like you really need to have your, solo therapy now, so let's send you home. And it was kind of like, I mean, I agreed with the logic of it, but, 9 weeks. I mean, I had changed a lot in those 9 weeks. This time I was extremely motivated. Like, it was like, I want this gone. I'm it's gonna be gone. For good. I'm not fucking around this time. Like, I was so sick of it. I just, basically the trigger for me getting better was just, I'd done the whole hospital rounds, being emaciated, shit. Late 2013, early 2014, I gained put a lot of weight back, more than I gained at Homewood. And then I started losing weight again, and I couldn't stop it. And one day I just thought, this shit has to end. I can't live like this anymore. And that was it. It was just simple. I mean, it's not really a decision. It was just a conclusion that was suddenly true. Like, the foundation of my existence, sort of a conclusion. The kind of thing that changes a person's life, and that's pretty much exactly what it did for me. So I went home after about 9 weeks in the program, give or take. And for the first month, after I got on that scale and saw the number and everything, I did struggle. I lost a few pounds, probably, I think I was 122. I think I lost 2 pounds, maybe 3. And then I ended up in the hospital for something completely unrelated, and lost a pound from that. So I guess, well, hang on. But anyway, this sustained loss was I'm still 3 pounds over goal, and I've weighed myself once or twice since, just to make sure I was maintaining, because I was scared of the scale for a while. I was sure I gained or whatever, so I stayed off of it. But then I was truly afraid that I lost, and I was like, well, shit, I can't lose much more than than I am, because otherwise I'm gonna have to go back on weight gain meal plan shit, and I didn't want that. So I weighed myself, and I was the same weight. So I'm 3 pounds over goal, which is quite acceptable. I can't say I'm eating a meal plan per se, but I'm eating when I'm hungry. My diet is awful. It really is. I don't know, lately it's cereal, fake chicken fingers and fries, or a fake chicken burger and fries, lots of cookies. Last night I had half a tub of yogurt for a snack slash I don't know what. But I don't eat that frequently. I just eat weird things. Like half a tub of yogurt at one time, but I probably hadn't eaten for a few hours before that. Several hours maybe. I'm not even keeping track at this point. That was what I wanted. I felt satiated once I had it, and that was it. It's not like I was actually binging on yogurt. I was actually eating what I wanted of it. It just seems abnormal because I'm not actually eating to a meal plan. I mean, whatever. I said, at this point, maintaining my weight is more important than being on a formalized 3 meals, 1 snack, probably 2 snacks, because you're going to be hungry with only 1 snack, and then you're going to have your coffee for an AM optional. It's no. I'm sick of following a fucking rigid meal plan. I'm sick of all the vegetables. I've even pretty much left out all the fruit except bananas, which is funny because it used to be a total fear of fruit, but right now it's the only fruit I eat. I've got apples that I like sitting in the fridge, haven't touched one, and fruit juice. But it's not it's grape drink or something, because there's a ton of sugar in it, but I only like it sugary. So I'm at this point, there was this big old drama about sugary drinks, and, cranberry cocktail is not cranberry juice, and oh my god, and I mean, it was super triggering at the time, but right now, I really don't give a shit. I'm just what I said was if this is how I'm gonna get my fruit serving, or my drink at a mealtime, then this is how I'm gonna get it. And sugar makes it taste better, so whatever. I did go back to diet soda. I'm still basically addicted to Diet Pepsi. However, although I did spend some time on Splenda / sweeteners in my coffee, I'm pretty much almost solely back on sugar. The last time I didn't do sugar was I was at the hospital for my therapy appointment, and I got a coffee before, and like before I could even think about it, I had the sweetener in the coffee, and I was just like, oh, because it was such an automatic action before, every time I'd go to see her, that I just did it. I didn't even think about what I was doing. I was like, oh shit, like now it's not going to taste as good, but whatever. Yeah, real sugar tastes better. Who would have known? God. Before Homewood, I can't even tell you I can't tell you the date of the last time I had real sugar in my coffee. I think it was probably within the last couple of years, but certainly probably more than a year. I specifically remember I was at Aunt Irene's house. She made coffee for all of us. She did not have sweetener. I had to have sugar. Like, it's sad what your fucking ED brain remembers. Like, why do I remember that one time when I had to have sugar in my coffee? Like, come on. It wasn't even that many calories. Like, and this is what I mean about being different. I mean, I watched the video from a year or so ago, and I mean, for one thing, like, my cheeks are hollow as fuck. My collarbones are like sharp as fucking glass. I'm way too skinny, and yet here I am restricting and going on about my weight and talking like a million and one calorie numbers, and God, I was totally fucking obsessed. I was flat, barely any affect at all. I was more depressed. I admitted it in that video, but you know, I can't say the depression is totally gone. Dysthymic disorder is kind of a funny thing. Don't mind the cat is sniffing all over my papers. Dysthymia is a funny thing when it's not like a chemical imbalance, and for me, it's not. It's very situational. It's very. I would still call myself dysthymic because it takes me a lot of effort to kind of be happy and to make myself happy. Like, I sort of have developed a set of things that kind of I know I like, and I sort of, if I'm really not feeling it, I'll do something within the list that is the thing that'll make me feel the most better. And so at least I'm having an okay day and not a shit day. So I guess that's one thing that Homewood certainly taught me at first and has helped to keep going is the whole distractions thing. But it's also like I picked up knitting. I started to loom knit at Homewood. And that was really easy. It was quick to learn, quick to do. So I enjoyed that. I made lots of loom scarves. It was great. But then when I got home, excuse me, I think, Homewood actually started my interest more in needle knitting because I learned how to cast on and I learned how to do the knit stitch. And I still have the beginning of the first scarf I was ever making, which was supposed to be for my father. Anyway, it wasn't really a scarf. It was very, very, very wide. It would have taken me forever, but I have it. It proves that I learned to knit. I probably will keep it always, even though it's pretty pathetic, really, when I look back at it, now that I've had a bit of experience with knitting. Like, I've gone from learning how to cast on and knit to, right now, I'm making an easy hat in the round, which is circular needles, which just means you have two little needle stubs that are like this long, two of them, and a string in between. So you can make things that are round and join it, and you don't have to do any sewing or any shit like that because I hate sewing. I'm also starting this. I can actually show you it, and that right there, here, that's the yarn I'm using. Not this specific ball, but I've got two skeins of this. It's burnout blanket yarn for anybody who actually does knit or whatever, or crochet. So it's like super chunky, and they call it vintage white. It's more like, it's white with like an ivory / yellowy tint. It's not ivory, it's more yellow than that. But anyway, 10 stitch blanket. Size 15 needles. Cat, no. And it looks, well, that in front of it sure looks sloppy, but kind of looks really sloppy right now, but like eventually when I get the blanket part done, because you got to do a lot of increases and decreases, and it kind of will end up going around itself, and it goes around itself in sort of a triangular way and makes these little boxes around and around and around. So you start on the inside and work your way out. But it's gonna look really cool when it's done. So I've got 2 skeins of that yarn. I need probably at least 2 more to make a regular size blanket. We'll see how that goes. And the hat, and I'm making a dishcloth with a mockingjay that I've been worked on in ages, but I'm thinking about making my own dishcloth pattern, which, as long as I know which side is the wrong side, it's easy enough. It's really not hard at all to make a dishcloth pattern, as long as you like know the pixels of your picture, because the pixels are the parts that will stick up from the dishcloth. That's it. Like, it's so easy. And I can't believe I learned to knit. I'm actually interested in knitting. I've also been watching Star Trek Next Gen again. I didn't watch season 1 at all because it's so like old and stilted, and it's too much. Honestly, it's too much like the original Star Trek, and I don't like the original Star Trek, and it's just lame. So I didn't watch it. But I'm maybe 3/4 of the way through season 4 at this point, so that's 2 3/4 seasons that I've watched. The cat's going nuts with a ribbon. It's a breast cancer ribbon. I had something on it, but it's not on it anymore. It's just a ribbon. Get off it. Anyway, I love him because he's cute. And I'm very glad I get to be his mommy again instead of like some shell who's trying very hard to be his mommy and not doing very well by him. Anyway, so yeah, dysthymia continues. Self-harm hasn't been as much of an issue, but it has happened. I was in the hospital since I've been home. I was in once for like actual psych reasons, and once because too much Ativan over a couple of days, and then I took other stuff because I didn't have Ativan and freaked out. So it was basically a hospitalization for dehydration, and then they thought that I was suicidal, but I really wasn't actually, and so I signed myself out AMA because they had me admitted to medical. It was like a Saturday night. They wanted me to stay till Monday so I could have a psych consult. I was like, that is not going to happen. I was really, really restless. There was no way I was going to be staying on a bed in the corridor for the night, let alone all the next day and the night after. So discharged myself AMA. I'm like, look, I'm not actually suicidal. I was just trying to block the thoughts out of my head, which is actually true. So I left and I didn't go back. I haven't been back since then. The one problem now is that I'm basically in my house all the time. Yeah, agoraphobia. Ender! Sorry. Agoraphobia is starting to get worse, gradually, very slowly. I've had bouts of it before, but they were kind of like really acute and like serious and like sudden onset, and then within a couple weeks they just went up. At this point, it's been building and building, and now I have trouble with public transit. Ender, get off the fucking papers. Sorry. Anyway, Ender, for God's sake, if you want the ribbon, don't drag them over there. Yeah, this thing is like almost 20 minutes. I don't give a fuck. I'll upload the first part, and then y'all can wait for this and see that it's like 20 minutes and not watch it. But anyway, yeah. I forget what the other part was that I was having trouble with a lot. It was like, though, as soon as I started reading what agoraphobia was about and like what the symptoms were and everything, I started getting even more anxious, and it got even worse. Because I have anxiety anyway. I have anxiety chronically all the time, and so I guess my anxiety fed on that, oh my god, this might happen to me, and this might happen to me, and oh my god, this is already starting to sort of happen, so maybe it's like, it like gave me ideas of things to be afraid of, and so now, like, I'm becoming afraid of them, and it's so stupid. And like, I know it's not really logical, and yet part of me feels like it's logical. Like, people are dangerous, and I feel safe at home. And it's one of the few places where I do feel safe, and so it's like, well, if I have adequate food and I have things to do, why would I leave? That's kind of where I'm at with that right now. I haven't been taking the bus to, or walking to, my appointments for weeks. I've been taking a cab, which is like $7 each week that I really don't have to spend. But I do it anyway. I can get the bus back for some reason. I can even go to the mall in between, go to Dollarama, whatever. If I wanted to, I could even go way up to Walmart, go to Michael's, whatever. But I can't do it before. I'm terrified before. I just can't make myself do shit unless I take a cab or like somebody drives me somewhere. I couldn't go with my aunt this weekend to Campbellton, even though I was going to go, because I couldn't stand the thought of being 4.5 hours away from my house and nobody being anywhere near who could help in any kind of crisis situation. I mean, I haven't been in crisis for like a month or more. Probably about a month or a little bit over. And, well, hang on. I keep losing track of the time. No, it's been like a month and a half. Wow. But it's like, it has to be there. It has to be there. I can't go somewhere where it isn't, right? Like, stupid panic, stupid fear over what? Over nothing, and yet I feel like it is something. The fear is the last thing I'm gonna get rid of. Because I've had anxiety literally like my whole life. I was born anxious and born highly sensitive, and that's just how I am. So, anxiety disorder is no surprise there. You know, the avoidant personality is an anxiety personality disorder, so is the obsessive compulsive personality disorder. And the panic attacks that I've had, and the agoraphobia, and all of that. It's all anxiety. It's all really, really fun. I don't recommend you try it at home. I'm sorry for those of you who don't have a choice. Because I know how shitty it is. Anyway, I'm gonna finish this absurdly long part 2 and go. But, I don't know if anybody has any questions or whatever. Feel free to leave them down below. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. And hi, I guess I'm sort of back. Oh, one last thing. Shout out to Hope164. Or was it? Hang on. Let me make sure I get that number right. Because I'm not getting it wrong. I don't feel like getting it wrong. It's either Hope163 or Hope164. I'm very sorry that I can't fully remember this, but Caroline, you are a bomb. You're awesome. Never stop fighting. Because we'll beat this shit. We'll beat the shit out of ED. You and I. Anyway. Toodles.